Alright, so the last two examples I'll go through are A and C. So the last examples I'm going to go through are A and C. These are going to pretty much cover everything that, we could really need or want. So here we're going to name the period and amplitude. I'm going to throw in midline 2. Then we're going to graph at least one period. So for A, we've got a period of 2 pi over 2/3. Again, that would be multiplying by the reciprocal. Multiply by 3 over 2. 2's cancel, leaving us with 3 pi. We've got an amplitude, which is the absolute value of -2. And we've got a midline of still y equals 0. So in order to manipulate these points, I'm going to take our parent graph. I'm going to multiply all of my so I'm going to take that parent graph, I'm going to multiply all my x's by that 3/2. I'm going to multiply all my y's by -2. I'm always doing the opposite with x. Whatever's with x changes the x values. So that's a horizontal compression, and then we've got that reflection in that vertical stretch. Or it's actually a horizontal stretch, sorry, because it's a fraction. So it's doing the opposite. It's making it longer. So here we go. Let's get our points. Our x values, we have our quadrantal angles. 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. And we are multiplying all of those by, or we're dividing by 2/3, which is multiplying by the reciprocal 3/2. So maybe I'll do that in a different color just to make it very clear. So we've got 0, we've got 3 pi over 2 times 2, 4, got a 3 pi over 2, got 3 times 3, so we've got 9 up in the numerator, over 2 times 2, 4. Then we've got 2 times 3, 6, over 2, which brings us back to 3 pi. So those are x's, that's being affected by that b value. And then our y's are starting off at that 0, 1, 0, -1, 0. And they're going to be affected by the -2, the amplitude. So we're going to multiply all those y's by -2. You get 0, -2, 0, +2, 0. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to graph that. So a couple of things to keep in mind, right, when we're picking our window here, what we're going to graph by. The amplitude will affect our high-low. So we've got to be going up and down 2. The midline's still 0, so we're going up or down 2 from 0. And then our y values, we've got to figure out how to scale it to 3 pi. And so what I like to do is just take those 4 numbers there and make that my scale. 3 pi over 4, 3 pi over 2, 9 pi over 4, 3 pi. And then to graph it, I'm just going to plot my points. So let's draw it in blue now so it stands out. Got 0, 0, 3 pi over 4, -2, 3 pi over 2, 0, 9 pi over 4, 2, 3 pi, 0. And that would be our sine function. All right. So let's check out C as well, because C is going to be very similar. And then B and D, you guys are welcome to try on your own, but after you complete the homework, you'll have a really good feel of if you're understanding this or not. So for C, right, I've got a period of 2 pi over B. B is that coefficient of x. So that's going to reduce down to pi over 2. Amplitude's the absolute value of A, so we get 1/4. Our midline is still y equals 0. So when I go to kind of change these values, I'm starting with my parent, 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, 2 pi. And I'm going to divide all my x's by 4. Whatever's with x affects the x values, and you always do the opposite. X is the weird one. So we're going to divide all these by 4. And maybe it was helpful to do that in a different color. So we get 0. Again, dividing fractions, you multiply by the reciprocal. So this is going to be 2 times 4 in the denominator. Again, this is going to be a 2 times 4 in the denominator, so 3 pi over 8. 2 pi over 4 would reduce down to pi over 2, which makes sense because that's our period. And then those x's, those y's, are our 0, 1, 0, negative 1, 0. And we are multiplying those by a 4th. So we get 0, 1/4, 0, negative 1/4, 0. And that's what we are going to go ahead and graph. So I'm only going up or down 1/4. So I'm going to kind of scale it. So my 1's way up here, this is just a 4th. There's my negative 1. It's my negative 1/4. And then my x's, again, I always kind of use that nice guide, that table, to scale it for me. That makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm plotting those points. So I got 0, 0, pi over 8, a 4th, pi over 4, 0, 3 pi over 8, negative a 4th, pi over 2, 0. And that would be the sine graph for y equals 1/4 sine of 4x. So you guys don't need to try the check your understanding. The next thing I want you guys to do is try out the homework, the lesson practice. Check your answers in the OneNote binder or wherever your teacher posts your answers. And then email your teacher or upload your assignment via Google Classroom or email it to your teacher for credit. And if you have questions, please do not hesitate to email or send me a remind. I am more than happy to help you guys. Thank you.